It's August 1966. A boy climbs a hill overlooking the Brazilian city of Niterói across the bay from Rio de Janeiro. He's chasing his kite through the tall grass when he stops suddenly. Two men lie on the ground. They're dressed neatly, matching suits, raincoats, and polished shoes. Each one has a strange metallic mask covering his eyes, like something cut from a sheet of lead. Beside them, an empty water bottle, two wet towels, and a small notebook. The boy runs for help. By the time police arrive, the bodies are already stiff from the heat. There are no signs of violence, no wounds, no struggle, no sign of anyone else. The hill is quiet, just wind through the long grass and the buzz of insects. The men look like they simply lay down and stopped existing. Their names are soon identified as Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana, both electronics technicians from the town of Campos, about 200 kilometers away. They were friends, co-workers, and, according to those who knew them, fascinated by science, radio equipment, and something that drifted close to the edge of belief. They weren't just hobbyists, they were building devices to contact something. 5 days earlier, the two men had told their families they were heading to Rio to buy parts for a work project. They left wearing their suits, carrying a small amount of cash, and said they'd be back the next day. They never returned. Witnesses later remembered seeing them on a bus to Niterói, talking quietly. One recalled them buying raincoats even though the weather was clear. Another said they stopped at a bar for mineral water around lunchtime. The bartender noticed one of them looking nervous, checking his watch constantly. When investigators reached the top of the hill, they found the scene almost too orderly. Both men were lying side by side, hands folded over their chests. Their lead masks were simple, homemade, crudely cut rectangles with no straps, just sheets of dull metal shaped to block light. The police opened the small notebook found beside them. Inside, written in careful handwriting, was a short list. 4:30, be at the agreed place. 6:30, ingest capsules. After effect, protect metals. Wait for signal, mask. No one knew what any of it meant. Protect metals, wait for signal. The handwriting was calm, deliberate, not rushed as if whoever wrote it expected everything to go exactly as planned. The first assumption was obvious: suicide. But if it was, then what kind? There were no empty pill packets, no poison traces, and no cups for the supposed capsules. Their stomachs contained only bananas and water from earlier that day. Toxicology reports found nothing fatal. No alcohol, no drugs, nothing. Whatever killed them left no chemical footprint. The masks themselves made no sense either. Tests confirmed they were pure lead, the kind used for shielding radiation or bright light. But why wear them on a hill under the sun? Police wondered if they expected to witness something blinding, maybe an explosion or a flash. Some even suggested they were waiting for a UFO. That might sound far-fetched, but people who knew them backed it up. Both men were involved in a small local group interested in spiritual science, a fringe blend of electronics, radio communication, and the paranormal. They believed in the idea that energy could connect people to higher beings, maybe even extraterrestrials. A friend told police that the two had built homemade devices in the past, hoping to receive mysterious transmissions. They talked about intense light and contact at a distance. So maybe they were waiting for something literal, a signal from beyond. Still, something about the scene didn't fit a ritual or a planned experiment. Their wallets still had money inside, their watches were intact. No evidence of robbery or struggle. The only odd items were the towels, damp and folded neatly beside them, and those strange masks. Autopsies offered nothing. Their internal organs were too decomposed after days in the heat to test for rare poisons. The reports listed cardiac failure as the cause of death, which was really just a placeholder, the equivalent of saying, "we don't know." The newspapers in Brazil went wild, reading "Men in lead masks found dead on hill, no explanation." Headlines tied the case to UFO sightings, secret experiments, even government testing. Witnesses came forward saying they'd seen strange orange lights over the hill the same night, but those reports were inconsistent. Flashes, shapes, stories that grew with every retelling. Police followed the trail back to Campos, where the men had lived. They spoke to a colleague who revealed something chilling. This wasn't the first time they tried something like this. Months earlier, another friend of theirs, also a technician, had nearly died while experimenting with an electrical device meant to capture spiritual energy. He described seeing a brilliant light and feeling heat on his face before blacking out. When he woke, he was half buried in sand, lucky to be alive. After that, he said Manuel and Miguel became obsessed with refining their methods. The theory grew that the two men might have built a new device and taken it to the hill for a test. They could have been exposed to toxic fumes, or perhaps an electrical discharge that stopped their hearts instantly, leaving no burn marks or damage visible after decomposition. The lead masks, in that sense, might have been protection against blinding light or radiation they expected from their own experiment. But there was no sign of any equipment at the site. No batteries, no wires, nothing. If they brought something, someone removed it before police had arrived. The mystery only deepened when investigators learned about a man named Elcio Gomez, who reportedly sold them the metal and helped shape the masks. He told police that Manuel and Miguel had said they'd needed the masks for scientific purposes. When asked if they mentioned radiation or light, he shrugged. They were secretive about it, he said. There were other inconsistencies too. The note in the notebook didn't mention how or when to use the towels. Why were they wet? To protect from heat? To inhale something? No one could answer. Eventually, the police ran out of leads. The deaths were ruled as unexplained. The case file was closed, but the story didn't die. Over the years, new theories surfaced. Some say it was murder, that someone else in their circle lured them to the hill and staged the scene. But there was no motive, no evidence, and no trace of another person. Others think it was a ritual, that the two men believed they could transcend their physical bodies through electromagnetic energy, using capsules to trigger a state of vision or contact. In that version, the masks were symbolic, not to protect from light, but from what they expected to see. And then there's the UFO theory, which refuses to die. In the 1960s, Brazil had a wave of reported sightings. A few local residents claimed they saw a glowing disc near Vintam Hill that same night. It's impossible to verify, the witnesses came forward years later, but it fits the myth. Two men, obsessed with cosmic communication, go to a hill, wait for a signal, and vanish under the open sky. Still, even the strangest explanations can't fill the gaps cleanly. If they were waiting for contact, why bring towels? Why the raincoats on a warm evening? Why was there no trace of the capsules they supposedly took? Every new answer creates another hole. Modern investigators have revisited the case several times. Some point to a simpler possibility: accidental poisoning. Lead is heavy and toxic. If the men were working with chemicals to make their masks or clean their equipment, they could have inhaled fumes strong enough to cause heart failure, though that still wouldn't explain the note or the timing. Another group thinks the deaths were caused by hydrogen sulfide gas, released naturally from the swampy soil higher up the hill. But the odds of both men lying down in exactly the same place, dying at the same moment, with no panic, stretched that idea thin. The psychological explanations don't quite land either. If one man panicked or lost consciousness, why didn't the other try to help or move him? Why did they both remain perfectly still? Every photograph from that investigation feels wrong. Two men side by side, faces hidden, lying in their suits like they're waiting for instructions that never came. Police in Niteroi eventually lost the masks, the notebook disappeared, the exact burial site isn't marked, and the official report is faded and incomplete. It's as if the story wanted to fade with them, leaving behind only a legend. Today, Vintom Hill is overgrown again. The city has spread around it, the forest reclaiming the edges. If you climb high enough, you can still see the view they saw. The bay, the rooftops, the haze of Rio in the distance. You can almost imagine them standing there, waiting quietly for something to appear in the sky. Whether it was an experiment gone wrong, or a shared delusion, or a meeting that never came, we'll never know. The only certainty is that they were looking for something beyond the ordinary, and whatever they expected, they believed in it enough to die waiting. If mysteries like this fascinate you, please drop a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.